Hello and welcome to Midnight Scribe's Creative Vibes, where we speak to the best of the bronies and discover what makes them tick. Continuing on with our series of retrospective episodes, here's a guest we had back on in the very first episode of Season 1. And he was in Season 2 and Season 3, but not Season 4. He eluded us that time, that sneaky Spaniard. But we have him back for Season 5. He's the freelance artist and writer behind Ask Movie Slate, Convention Art for Brony Scott, and he is the biggest movie buff I know. It's always a delight and a privilege to welcome James Corck to the show. James, how are you doing?
You said best of the bronies. I don't know how to feel about that statement.
Yeah.
There is way better people than me.
Oh, as usual, it's been 4 years since we had you on first, and you still haven't changed. You don't give yourself enough credit.
You have to do that, or else you get a head so big that before you realize you are quitting the fandom and going, fandoms are not made for me. I don't want to be here anymore. And then you just go, shut the door behind you, and then you just hit in the butt with it, fall on your face, and before you realize people are making fun of you.
Yeah.
It's come on, guys. It's internet stuff. It's all good. I think that is one of the biggest things that has changed on the past couple of years. People are a little bit wind up in like a spring in that regard, because I don't know, the show is over, or people are seeing the finality of things and they're freaking out about it. I don't want to jump ahead too much, but yeah, you ask how I'm doing. I'm doing fine. I'm good.
Well, I'm glad to see you're keeping well, anyways, and I still stand by my point. You continue to sell yourself way short, even though I know you're self-deprecating. You like to, be in your head realistic about who you are and what you do. But at the end of the day, the fact is that you were a talented artist back then. You still are, and you've gotten better at it. And the content you're doing is still fantastic as ever. So, you're allowed to blow your horn a little bit. You're allowed to say, hey, you know what? I'm a freelance artist. I work full time doing what I love. And even if it sometimes torments me, I still enjoy doing it.
As far as self-awareness goes, I will not take it further than I am the luckiest person on the planet for being allowed to do the thing that I do and still keeping a job, steady income, and a roof over my head, and food in my fridge, and my taxes and bills up to date. And man, I'm pretty sure you can imagine how difficult it is to juggle all those different balls at the same time without them falling on your face. So it's it's difficult to do.
Oh, indeed! Like with all the various commitments and things going on in your head, and just life as well, just kind of getting in the way. It's a bit like spinning plates, ain't it? You're never sure if you're actually going to be able to keep all of them going, or how do you do it? And it can be a lot to juggle, but you've always done really well with actually juggling your various creative ventures. And you've certainly, one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know whether you would agree with this point, this is just as a friend and fellow creator, and kind of knowing you for as long as I have, I would certainly say that in the last couple of years since we had you on, or at least since we first had you on, you seem to be in a much better place. That you seem to be in a good, nice, level playing field place with trees and stuff and things.
Well, there's definitely more trees now around me than there were before, because I no longer live in Spain. I moved to Scotland about a year ago, and I'm living in Dundee, happy and all good. And that's the thing, is that I'm on my own. I'm not living with my parents anymore, which is, it's not a thing that I haven't been able to do until now, mostly due to economic inconvenience more than anything else. So this is a good step forward. I mean, like I said, lots of work. You mentioned before it's difficult to do all those things. I'm reminded of there was like a pyramid scheme, like a triangle, with the 3 different points being studying, sleep, social life. Replace studying with work / drawing, business stuff, and you have to just pick 2 of those. You either don't work but have a social life and sleep, or you have a social life and work, but you don't sleep. I choose the third option, which is work and sleep. So I barely have a social life, which is I basically spend all day in front of the computer, managing the social media, managing the different galleries, talking with clients, keeping records with my bank in order to keep the taxes up to date, and getting commissions done. And it's so weird. When you have all of those things to do, the drawing process is just 15% of the rest of the thing, which is bizarre. Some days I just talk to people, keep them up to date, and when I get to drawing, I have like 2 or 3 hours before I go to sleep. So progress on commissions is always super slow, no matter how much I do. But that's because I do PR as well as I do artwork. I need a manager. I need a PR manager. I need to hire someone. I was actually thinking about doing that, hiring someone to help me with the secretary things of side of things. But it will lose that personal touch. I like to talk to people directly. So that's why you have to... Like, it's weird. You sacrifice one thing for the other. So, yeah.
I suppose that's the thing of it being an independent creator, particularly when it is like you're not part of a studio or anything or like a small group. It is just yourself. So you're having to be, artist, manager, admin, PR, finance. You're basically having to juggle a huge, amount of skill sets, to basically keep your business and your economy going. So, it's that, and that's something as well that you've definitely really come into your own, particularly on the marketing side. Like, certainly your Twitter has never been busier. Like the traction you get on some of your posts are fantastic, and some of the new content you do there as well is absolutely great. Because I mean,
sorry to laugh. You say I get a lot of traction, and I'm like, yeah, I get a lot of traction, especially when I reply to Red Letter Media's tweets with Yoda gifs going, how embarrassing. It's the plight of anyone. It's like, traction, yeah, sure. Oh yeah, I get tons of traction. I have 1 retweet in this tweet. Yeah.
Yay!
Which is more than 0, so that's great. No, I mean, I may be coming across as cynical in this regard. I'm not. I really am very happy with how well things are doing. I'm the kind of guy that goes, I got a like on this tweet. Perfect. Awesome. Let's move on. Like, I got a note on this DeviantArt post. Great. That's awesome. That's less than 0. That means there is more than 0 people checking my stuff. It's like, you have to be a little bit, self-conscious about this whole thing. Is that you upload a picture and you put it out there and you get 10 favorites in it. And then you look at other people's work and they are getting like 1,000 or 2,000 or a bunch of favorites. Everybody's liking their drawing. And then you have to be realistic about that. 10 people is way more people than you can properly host in your house or in your flat or in the place that you're living. You have to be like, wow, that's a lot of people, actually. 10 people is a bunch of people. It's as much as I can count with my hands. So don't compare to people that are having like 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't make your achievement less important. So I try to see it from that perspective. I might be naive about it. Everybody knows that if you don't get a lot of numbers, there is no success. But then you have the people from the Fire Festival that literally got like millions of views and likes and tweets and whatnot, and it ended up being an absolute disaster. So
yeah, keep your 10 people. They're doing good.
Yeah, 10 people. Like, what would you rather have? 10 fans that are super hardcore, that love your stuff, that are always going to be there and you can count on them, or 50,000 fans that are absolute flake? I will keep with the 10, thank you.
Exactly. No, that's the way to be. It's that thing that is social media as well can be incredibly fickle at the best of times. And, sometimes you're the flavor of the month. A lot of the time you're not. There's no sense in getting too wound up about it. As long as you're happy with the content you're creating, whether that's the art you're making, the social media you're doing, whatever that happens to be, as long as, at the end of the day, you can go, I feel reasonably decent with what I have done today,
Yep.
That's, there's no sense in kind of putting that pressure on yourself and kind of going like, I could have, done this and that would have gotten me more followers, or this could have gotten me a 10 new commissions. You know what I mean? It's like you've got to a bit of perspective and a bit of happiness of what you've got, I suppose, is always a good thing to have, because when those extra things come along, makes them better.
it's the shooting star analogy. Is that those shooting stars are kind of like artists, content creators, be it a YouTuber or oh my god, the Brony fandom has had so many of those where they are literally like shooting stars. It's like they are spectacular and very nice to look at, but they are brief and burn out quickly. So they put out a couple of videos or they put out a couple of drawings, and then in like 2 or 3 months, or in the best of cases, like 2 or 3 years, they are like, I'm done, I'm out, I'm leaving the fandom, I had it with you guys, I'm sick of this, I'm leaving. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the podcast. Is like, this is something that happens not just in the Brony fandom, but in every fandom in general, is that you burn out quick and you have to be careful. What would you rather be? One of the many faint stars that, not many people pay attention because they are right there, but they stay there for a while? Or would you rather be a shooting star, have fame for a couple of years, and then fall down into obscurity, saying that fandoms are not made for you and that you are done with everything? I keep making that comparison. I saw a post that I'm not going to mention who the artist is, but I saw a post a couple of weeks ago of a guy that I used to talk to, and then I'm giving too many clues at this, but I'm just going to say that we stopped talking a while, and they went on their merry way, I went on my merry way. Check the post from their galleries by pure chance, because somebody linked me to them, and they said that they are done with everything, that they're not going to keep posting anything else, they're going to look at other venues in life, they are refunding all their commissions, and they are, in their own words, done with fandom mentality. And I am trying to figure out what fandom mentality is. I haven't figured that out yet. What do you think is fandom mentality?
And I'm crying now. I'm on the spot. You've asked me a question. I'm not used to this. This isn't how this works. I'm opening it more to you because you have a bigger understanding of how things work out there than me. I mean,
you talk with more artists than I have because of the nature of the podcast, and you have talked with more content creators than I have. So,
well, I suppose coming from the outside looking in, because I mean, you're a content creator, you have commissions, you have people who come to you to have things created. You know, my perspective is obviously more with creators and kind of seeing what they're up to. I suppose in terms of fandom mentality, what I suppose that would mean is, in a worst case scenario with an extremely small subset of people, there's an extreme sense of entitlement to what a creator is, does, and who they are. And by that, I mean that there's, like I said, 1 or 2 people out there who say, for example, and say for talk's sake, they were a fan of yourself, James. Like a casual fan would enjoy your art, would commission you, would perhaps tweet and say, hey, listen, that piece is great, or discuss with you about a film, perfectly normal stuff, social media banter, all good. Someone who's a bit more entitled would be the sort of person that would persistently contact you in increasingly unhealthy ways, would expect positive response from you constantly, because they would consider you almost public domain, in the sense that because you are creating for, quote unquote, the public, therefore they own yourself. And the best analogy I can think of, and this is only because I learned it recently, so I'm going to nick it, is do you know about the White House in America and what the legality is surrounding that property?
Yeah, it's always but that's also always very muddled.
Yeah.
It falls into copyright laws, which is always, do they apply worldwide, or are they just for one country, or are they going to, because there is the whole, let's block this on this country, but this is completely available on this other country.
Well, not even that. This is the interesting thing I learned, right? Because, for example, right, the White House is obviously one of the most important institutions in America, right?
Yeah.
And the president lives in it and works there. A hugely important building. So you would think that's owned by the government or by the president. You'd think that it's kind of a government-owned building, but it's not. It's actually legally owned by the people.
Yeah, because they paid for it with their taxes.
Exactly. Yeah. So therefore, people can go in, they can do tours, all that sort of thing. And there's and so I remember hearing a story about someone who actually broke into the White House over the fence, got taken to court, and it got thrown out because they basically just went, "Well, it's in the amendment; it belongs to the people," and that was the end of that.
Wow.
So, But the reason I say that analogy is I think some people see content creators in a similar manner, but not realizing that actually it's a contractual arrangement. If they can't, just because you're pal with someone doesn't mean you're going to get free art. It doesn't mean that just because you're friends with them, you can constantly pester them. It doesn't mean you're not owed anything.
Yeah, content creators don't owe you anything, but content creators kind of own a lot to, because if you don't have an audience, you don't have anything. So in the end, you cannot be so full of yourself that is like, oh no, I already give you what you deserve by putting my stuff out there for you to favorite and like and share and whatnot. It's always really nice to do something like a raffle or a giveaway or even something as simple as saying, hey guys, thank you so much for following me. Like, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have anything. It's like, people are, I'm not gonna say easy to please, but I think I just said it. So it's like they just want that acknowledgement. They just want that, hey, thank you so much for doing this. You guys are great. And like, thank you. Hey, you actually pay attention to us. You acknowledge us. You realize that without us, you wouldn't be here. Because like me, like anyone else, there is like 1,000 guys out there. So it's like, hey, if you don't have anything else to offer that is different from all these other guys, we are just following you because we really like your stuff. Even though your stuff is not different from like artist B, artist C, artist F. So you know is that you need to keep a level of self-awareness and realize I am one guy on the internet, and I am like Jatsi Croshaw put at one point, throwing message in a bottle in a sea made out of bottles. And if I am lucky enough that someone picks up that bottle and reads the message inside, then holy cow, I am the luckiest guy ever. Because someone came in and threw a rescue plane on me, and now I'm no longer on a desert island.
Certainly, one thing that I've noticed recently is, in the fandom, there's been
a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fair way of putting it. There's been stuff going on. There's been problematic things happening, and
there is always something going on in the Brony fandom. But then again, there is always something going on in X fandom. So there is always something going on.
Oh, indeed, exactly. I mean, there's always stuff going on. I think it's just interesting, perhaps because, say in 2012, 2013, when the fandom was kind of at its height, because there was so much going on and there was certainly a great deal of energy and quite a lot of positivity as well, perhaps the bad stuff seemed a lot more muted because it was hidden away or slightly different, if you know what I mean.
I will say the other way around, because I've been in the fandom since 2011. Not to tout my own horn or anything like that. I have always been kind of like a background character in this regard. But when it comes to drama stuff, 2013 and 2012 and 2013, whenever there was drama, it was always heightened, and that was because of how active the fandom was. That it doesn't matter if I was stepping away from it, it always burrowed its way onto my feed. So I was like, oh, hey, they put boys on Derpy. Nice. Oh, no, they changed the voice of Derpy. Everybody goes mad. Oh, no, they put Princess Cadence on the show. Oh, everybody goes mad. Las Pegasus Unicorn at the beginning of 2013. Twilight turning into a princess. Like, angry, drama. Yeah. People getting mad. And then what happens is that in the end, it all dies out. And it's like Mike Stoklasa from Red Letter Media said, it's like shaking a thing of water. And then eventually the water just settles. And then you realize what is left from all of that. And there have been some drama storms in the fandom that seem like a very big deal, and then nothing happened. Like, what are the consequences of this? Oh, nothing. What was the consequence of Derpy getting her voice changed?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. The Las Pegasus Unicorn was actually one of the most upsetting ones, because people should have been thrown in jail for what happened there, and nothing was done. But even the biggest storms seem like not that big of a deal. So yeah, I mean, if there is some drama going on, guys, calm down. It's all good. The same goes with the fandom dying because the show is ending. If that was true, then the Harry Potter fandom would have stopped in 2011. The Firefly fandom would have stopped in 2004. there would have been no Star Trek fandom after was DS9 the last Star Trek TV show before Star Trek Discovery came out?
Oh no, there was Voyager, there was Enterprise.
Yes, okay. After the last Star Trek show came out, and then Discovery, there's been like, what, a decade between one show and the other? And the Star Trek fandom has kept on going. So it shifts, it changes. There is nothing to freak out or worry about. But yeah, I mean, people have to keep it easy. People have to take it easy. Keep it calm. It's a show. Do the Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing. It's just a show. You should really just relax. It's all good. What was I going to say? I'm a terrible Trekkie anyway. I am into Star Trek through the movies and not the TV shows, so...
Yeah, that's fair enough. As long as you enjoy what you enjoy, it's all good. And,
yeah. No, you see, you cannot enjoy what you enjoy because you're on the internet. That means if you're enjoying something, someone else is not enjoying that you're enjoying something. And that's where you get all the arguments. You cannot say, and to try to steer this back to MLP, although it's impossible. It's kind of difficult. That's like saying the best episode of season 4 was that in Don't, and then people jump at you because they say, that episode was beep, 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 beep. A lot of words that we cannot say here, and then they follow suit by trolling you on DeviantArt. I didn't feel anything for On Your Mark, Set, Go, or whatever that episode was. Race to the Finish, whatever. What was it? Whatever. The episode with the Simpsons where they're trying to make the halftime show, whatever it is. That episode was fine. That in Dawn was better though.
I'll tell you what though, there's one other question I wanted to ask you, and this is more actually for other content creators, because I think this is something that I feel might be of use to them, and like your perspective might actually be. I know this is a genuine serious question here. This is like proper interview stuff, so like oh god. But no, here's what I wanted to ask you, because obviously, like you were saying before, you were based in Spain, you moved to Scotland. That is at best a huge change, in terms of like how you do your business, how you create, live. I suppose what would be interesting to know is kind of what were the major changes for yourself? Like, what did you have to learn, and what advice would you give to creators who are considering a move to another country or somewhere that they're not familiar with?
Get your hand on the tax laws of the country that you're moving into and give them a very good read. Give them a very good read, because if you're going to go freelance, you're not going to need to know about tax laws a lot. So be very careful. I am not going to go into detail regarding the ones in Scotland because that's kind of pointless. Not many people will be able to use that information anyway. Look into the tax laws of where you're moving in, because that's the basis of your business. If you don't know how to do that, you're in trouble. And I am finding out kind of the hard way. I'm with an accountant that's also a friend of mine, and he's giving me a hand with how to learn about that stuff. Also, look on how the things work over in your country compared to the country that you're moving in, because I'm gonna talk from a personal point of view regarding the difference between Spain and Scotland. Spain is archaic regarding the way that freelance workers work. As long as you don't have a place, as in your own shop, your own store, to work from, you are completely exempt from taxing. However, if you make over a certain amount of money every month, you need to pay the state a fee every year to be able to work as a freelancer. So you don't need to pay taxes because you don't have a shop, but you need to pay taxes if you make a certain amount of money. So if you make less than that amount of money monthly, you can totally get away with doing whatever it is that you're doing without needing to pay taxes, or even tell the state that you are doing that. That's the way that it works in Spain. It works a lot simpler in Scotland, where you make a certain amount of money, and then past that amount of money, you need to pay tax. And you also need to be written down by HMRC that you are a freelancer. And every now and then they will contact you and they will tell you, hey, you need to file up this information, go online, and you have until this deadline. And you're like, oh, great, awesome. Simple, cut and paste, print cut, whatever that expression is, and you put it they put it in such a simple language, and they word it so well that tax laws in the UK are a lot easier to understand than tax laws in Spain, because the language that they use in Spain is the language from like the 19th century, and that's not even an exaggeration. They take 3 paragraphs to say something that HMRC says in 1 sentence. It's ridiculous. That's an improvement. It's like so much better over here in Scotland than it was over there in Spain. Like I have yet to see a downside to all of this. So I will say that's the biggest advice. Check tax laws. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters how much money you make. Because the state wants to get that money from you, because it's the law. You need to follow that. I mean, come on.
Yes, pay your taxes. Don't be Al Capone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at that. Not even he got away with it. You need to be very careful. I'm not going to give you art advice. I'm not going to tell you work hard or anything like that. No, you already know that. If you're going to try to be a freelancer, you already know that. Taxes, dude. Taxes. Careful with that. They will catch you. They will jump on you. You have to be very careful. Keep an eye on that.
Well, I tell you what, on that absolutely brilliant advice, I think we're going to have to wrap up the show, James.
Oh, that's great. Well, this was fast.
I know. Listen, this passed really fast. Like I said, we just got chatting away and it just flew by.
Yeah. Oh, things have changed. I don't know how different this was from last time, but I hope it was a little bit better, at least.
Well, I reckon we chatted about, we had some fun. We've chatted about actually some quite serious and good topics to go into, which is absolutely great. And suffice to say, I certainly hope we'll have you on again on the show some point in the future as well, because frankly, at this point, it's near enough a tradition. So I think we need to have you on in season 6 when we're all grown up.
Yeah. Well, grown up. I think it was Adventure Time that said, professionals are noobs that never quit. I
think that's a pretty good expression to live by. I'd certainly agree with that.
Yeah. That's the way that I see it, because I mean, how do you do in terms of like adulting or things like that? One thing that you need to learn is that you will never be able to adapt. So you need to learn how to improvise. So it's always a good thing to be able to improvise, come up with things up in the fly, and say, oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that. What's my contingency plan for this? Like, even if you have a contingency plan, it might be thrown out. So you need to think things fast. So yeah, it's all good.
All good, all good. Well, here, I tell you what, final question for yourself, James. I mean, I know we've shown your links plenty of times before, but let's just bring them up again. Where can we find you on the web?
Just, I am mostly active on Twitter, in that I share almost all my stuff over there, and I post my random thoughts every now and then. So you can just follow me at James_Corck, Corck. And if you want a more subdued, a little bit more under control, you can check my DeviantArt page. Just search for James Corck all together in lowercase on DeviantArt. Or if you like to take risks and check out a really badly put together website, you can check my Tumblr at allthreadesteam.tumblr.com, or with my Ask blog, askmovieslate.tumblr.com. But yeah, you can find me there. It's easy for me to be found. Just put James Corck and you will be subjected to the horrors that are my artwork.
Well, listen, we'll have all those links in the description below. So if you want to see James Corck, see his art, commission him, chat with him, all there, go along and say hi. But we shall wrap up the show just now. My thanks to James for coming back on the show again. Frankly, I'm amazed he isn't too scared to come back after all the previous times.
It was great. Thank you for having me. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. I miss doing podcasts.
I know. Hopefully we'll do some more again in the future. I'm certainly... I've missed you doing podcasts and the previous shows that we've been involved with together outside of Creative Vibes. Certainly, I'd hope to see you again doing that sort of thing in the future. And once again, thanks to everyone who's been watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. And hey, listen, if you want to get in touch with us, well, hey, listen, we've got our Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got YouTube, an email address. We've got all sorts of contacts. Why not get in touch, say hi? And hey, look, we're looking for guests for 2020. We're thinking about a season 6, folks. We've got to get that together. So if you're a creator in the fandom or outside, because we are spreading out as well, get in touch with us. Show us your work. we will, we're looking for all sorts of cool creators. So, hey, listen, you never know. We'd love to have you on the show. But we will wrap up for just now. Thank you all for watching. And the final word from Midnight Scribe is, as always, please subscribe!